I'm feeling pretty good. I don't know about you guys, but it's hoodie weather, my favorite type of, time of the year. Got the sick Bungie Foundation merch going. I'm in my new office. First video with, ranking face cam talkie to the camera video in the new office, which is pretty sick. I hope you guys like the setup with all the seals and the raid jackets and stuff. Hopefully the lighting and sound is okay. If not, let me know and I'll improve it. But we just got a pretty sick exotic mission in the Encore exotic mission that Bungie kind of hyped up a little bit, and there's been mixed reception to. So I want to go through and put it in my rankings of exotic missions. Now, about 2 years ago, we did a video up to Seraph Shield, I believe. So right before Lightfall, ranking all the exotic missions. Since then, we've gotten a couple new ones, and Whisper has come back updated, and 0 Hour has come back updated. So I want to kind of throw an updated tier list on the screen right now, talk about Encore, and then put it in there. So we've talked about this on stream a little bit, but I believe this is my current list. So Harbinger is going to be my least favorite mission. This was the Hawkmoon mission. Nothing really that interesting. Then you have the Other Side mission in the Tribute Hall for Bad Juju. That one was a pretty cool callback to the Leviathan and stuff, but just kind of a really simple mission. Whetstone was the Wicked Implements little exotic quest side secret thing in Deep Dives and Season of the Deep. Now, this one, not super well received by a lot of more like casual players, just because it was really hidden and you had to get into specific lobbies and stuff, but the timing was really tight. I loved the kind of return to form to the secret hidden timed mission in a normal activity. We walked past that door 100 times and no one knew. I think that's sick, and I love that. And my man Noah, Blazing Muffins, worked on that, and he's awesome too. So there's a lot there that I think is great, and a great stepping stone towards new, really cool things that hopefully they keep doing with exotic missions going forward. Then we have the Star-Crossed mission of the kind of long form exotic missions. Like, it had a semi-unique mechanic, one thing to step in to go through barriers, and one thing to step in to kill shielded enemies, and you could combine them and refresh them. And not the most interesting mechanic. The Bow Wishkeeper? That feels wrong, but I think that's the name, Wishkeeper. Whatever it is. Not my favorite. I have never actually used it outside of the secrets in that exotic mission, which were pretty cool. I like the storytelling in that mission, though. And that's one thing that I think we've noticed going forward. Like, I think since like Avalon, Bungie has really started to intertwine secret missions with storytelling, and I think that's really powerful and really well done. So like the Star-Crossed like Riven love story thing going on was actually phenomenal. That was really cool. Probably the best part of that mission, to be completely honest. Then we have Presage. Actually, Presage probably would have been the first storytelling exotic mission, huh? Love Presage. From this point on, they're all like, on any given day, you can switch them, to be honest. These are all top tier, in my opinion. Presage being like dark and, got kind of that body horror element to it that, just like creepy, derelict, abandoned ship, like really awesome. I love that. I kind of wish they would go more into that, which next season, vampire stuff, who knows? 0 Hour, I bumped up quite a few spots here because the reprised version of 0 Hour is awesome. I wasn't a big fan of the original, to be completely honest, but the better ad density and especially just the better boss fight is really good. I'm a big fan of the new 0 Hour, to be completely honest, and the new secrets and stuff. Pretty fun. Not bad at all. I really like 0 Hour. And then we have Avalon. I think I've always held Avalon in higher regard than most people, and I don't really know why that is. I just really like it. I mean, it was a secret launch. We didn't know it was coming, and we don't get that a lot nowadays. It is essentially a dungeon. Like, if you threw an armor set and a couple of weapons in it, it could very easily be a dungeon. 3 encounters. The difficulty on launch was pretty brutal on Legendary, especially if you had 3 people on your fire team. Really great callbacks to Ashermere and the Pyramidion, and all of that story is really cool. So I think Avalon, I like it a lot. And in terms of mechanics for secret missions, I know a lot of people are like, oh, just shoot the shape or whatever, but I actually really like the flow to that mission. I think it works really well, personally. Then I have Seraph Shield. don't really have to say much about that. Banger mission. I wish the mechanics were more unique. They are essentially just deep stone mechanics, but the story's amazing. The secrets, the Archie, the robot dog, and all the other secrets, the secret rooms you can open in the end, and that sort of stuff, like really cool. So that's going to be my second highest. And then Whisper of the Worm, I think, will always be the best exotic mission, just from like a nostalgia or like a like what it did, how it solidified itself for the franchise. I'm actually not a huge fan of the reprised version of Whisper of the Worm. I think they could have scaled it up way more, made way more enemy density, and doesn't really have any mechanics or anything like that. But I think just for the importance of it existing alone and the impact it has had on me and this channel, I think it has to be the best on this tier list, in my opinion. So Encore, how does it rank? Against all of those. Let's go kind of through it. So unfortunately, not really a secret mission. It was pretty much the activity for Act 3 of Episode of Echoes. So I prefer more secretive things, to be completely honest. But what it lacked in kind of secret introduction, it completely made up for, in my opinion, with these smaller secrets sprinkled throughout. You know, there are 7 kind of secret challenges you have to find. That there was like 3 in the first week, 2, and then 2 second week and third week, getting kind of more progressively difficult, I would say. And some of them have like their own unique or mechanics or unique takes on mechanics. Like they added a 4th red buff specifically for one of these rooms, one of these puzzles, which is pretty cool. I know it's like simple. It's like you pick up the buff and a door disappears, but honestly, like that's not something Bungie does a lot, to be completely honest, is make something unique for a secret side puzzle. So I appreciate that, even if it's not that crazy. The reflection puzzle is really cool. You know, some of them are pretty simple. Go here, kill this thing, scan these complexes, shoot these things, whatever. But I really like that kind of feeling of like, oh, every week there's something else to discover. And then in week 2, they added the collectibles. I forget what they were called, the little Vex boys that you could find and scan. And then in week 3, after you completed everything, they added the little Vex anomaly, like black hole things. So 2 sets of collectibles, 7 puzzles, and when it's all said and done, you have the Whisper mission portal, which I believe we were the first team to find and complete, which is always really fun. But you go into Legend, you find the secret door with the Whisper symbol, you equip the Whisper, it disappears, and then you can go in the portal, you get a timed version of the mission. Now, I wish the timed version of the mission was like a little bit more difficult or something. Like we finished it with 12 or 15 minutes left. It was a 35-minute timer, I believe. Not the most like unique or crazy thing in the world, but an awesome callback to Whisper. And I love the fact that Bungie is not afraid to ask players to have an exotic from a different exotic mission. You know, that I feel like there's been a few years in here where I would say, oh, Bungie would never do that. Like they would never require a new, more casual player to go into this mission and get this thing and then go over here and complete it on Legend under a time limit. Like, you know, and I'm hoping the days of that sort of mentality, I hope they're gone, and we can lean more into these more hardcore secrets again, more demanding combat challenges again, which they've been kind of leaning harder and harder into over the past year or so. So I loved that. I think that's a really cool callback and almost like homage to Whisper. The emblem is super sick as well. Just a big fan of how all of that came together. So I would say this probably has more secrets than any of the other secret exotic missions on this list, if however you want to call them. The mechanics, pretty interesting. It's not often we get new mechanics. I think of this list, Starcross got a new mechanic, Presage got a new mechanic, Avalon got a new mechanic. So 3 out of like 7 or 8. And then this one got the new mechanic as well. Not the most interesting thing in the world, but kind of fun, you know, a little puzzly, especially your first time or two going through the mission, finding out the correct order or the most efficient order to open doors and spawn platforms and scan complexes and stuff. Especially that kind of second mini encounter, the tower one, the first time they introduced the blue buff, was really fun to figure out. I thought that was really cool. Now, one thing I would have loved to have seen is in the second the first and second boss encounter, so the one with the Tormentor and the Subjugator, and then the final boss, I wish there was like a little bit of randomization. Not necessarily like procedurally generated puzzles or anything, but maybe like 3 or 4 options that you could get, like different pathways or mini puzzles. That way it's not just like the exact same every time, especially in the final boss. You know, the final boss either goes left or right, but it doesn't change. You put the same buffs in the same thing on either side. And I think it would have been cool if like maybe certain platforms could or could not spawn, and the boss could maybe go a couple different places, and you know, you maybe had to think on the fly a little bit more. I think that would have helped improve, you know, that aspect of this mission a little bit. But overall, like I appreciate the unique mechanic, pretty fun, puzzly. I'm that type of guy. I'm a sucker for that sort of thing. So next would be the combat challenge. Not overtly difficult, I would say. Pretty good ad density throughout. I really like to kind of switch up with like the death wall chasing you in the first room and that sort of thing while you're escaping. The bosses are kind of pushovers, all 3 of them. The 2 boss encounter, like they literally just fall over on both difficulties, and the final boss is kind of the same thing as well. It gets a little harder on week 3 when they add the Yellow Bar Colossus in at the same time, but I would have liked to see, you know, a little bit more combat difficulty. I think make us think a little bit more. We are just so insanely powerful right now, so I know that's a hard thing. And I think the final thing would really be well, I guess there's 2 things. The first one's going to be story. The Kyoma SC story with Maya Sundaresh. The like awesome story. I love this idea. Maya going kind of insane and just killing, like pulling versions of her wife from different simulations or timelines or whatever, and just like murdering them because they're not the right one. Brutal. And then even, you know, she ended up killing even the real one too. Brutal. I mean, great story. Great story. Big fan of that and how it unfolded over 3 weeks. I thought that was pretty fun. I wish the mission itself would have changed a little bit more. You know, maybe switch out an encounter here instead. Like they added like a couple of lasers, or you know, like the couple enemies or whatever. But I wish there was a little bit more change to the mission. But the change of the story every week was really cool. I enjoyed that quite a bit. So definitely huge points for story. And then the final thing would be the exotic. Is the exotic good? Choir of One is one of the rare examples in Destiny where you have an exotic that is exotic. You know, it's like very unique or weird. Doesn't feel like anything else. Like it is an exotic, but it's also really good. Usually with Destiny exotics, it's like, hey, you have a good exotic or you have something that's kind of weird and campy. It's not often you get a combination of the two. I think this is a perfect combination of the two. It is really great. Even though there's some bugs with like the ammo economy being way better than it's supposed to be, I'm glad they're letting us play around with it. This thing is really fun and it's really cool. And I mean, yeah, it's probably one of the best. I mean, it's better than Hawkmoon. It's better than Bad Juju. It's definitely better than Wicked Implement. It's better than the Wishkeeper Bow. It's better than DMT. It's probably up there with Outbreak and Whisper, I would say, as like being some of the best exotics we've ever gotten from these missions. It's just great all the way around. And I think all of those things come together. And if I were to put this on the list somewhere, I think I'm going to put it somewhere around Avalon and Seraph Shield. I think I am going to go ahead and put it right below Avalon in the 4th spot place. I think the Avalon difficulty and mechanics were a little bit better. And maybe like the aesthetic too. Whereas I think the puzzles, like the secrets in the puzzles and the exotic were better for Encore. And the stories were about equal for me. So that's where I'm going to put it. Like I said, pretty much everything above 0 hour or presage for me, you can like, on any day, I might have a different opinion. It just kind of depends if I'm feeling like dark and moody or like go, like speed mission or mechanic-y, you know what I mean? Or combat difficulty. It just kind of depends what I'm feeling like that day. But for right now, I'm going to like pretty much tied with Avalon for me. They clearly put a lot of work and effort into this mission. I would have loved to have seen it like take just a little bit more, take a little extra step. Probably would have put it second for me if there was a little bit more randomization and stuff. But I love the return to form with secrets. I would love to see a little bit increased combat difficulty and unpredictability week to week. But other than that, I think it's really good. So let me know what you think down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe if you did. Let me know if there's any other sort of things you want me to take a look at from this season. I plan on doing a couple more of these videos. I always love this sort of thing, but have a fantastic day, and I'll see you soon. See you guys.